tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. The weather is staying away though, Retha. So the thunder.
That is the great thing. Okay, are we live, guys? It looks like it.
We're live. Just give it a minute.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure it's live. It looks like it. So we can.
Yeah, we're 21 seconds in. We're good to go.
Yes.
I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pawz People. And it is great that we can have you all today again. Tonight is very special for me, okay, because I get to introduce Dr. Nick Thompson, the holistic vet you've got to know. It's not just because he's had such a huge impact on what in the holistic world and veterinary worlds happened and natural health for animals. But over the last few, say year, a little bit more of a year, he's actually became a very dear friend for me. And I'm really, really grateful that we can have him here. And it is third time lucky, Nick. It is great to have you here. And I'm sure our audience is going to love the evening with you.
Thank you so much. You know what? I think I've got some Afrikaans blood in me somewhere along the line because I feel so at home with you guys. And when I was in South Africa, it was like coming home. It was apart from it being too bloody hot, it was just a wonderful place to be. And so if this is a real happy place for me, and it's wonderful to be sharing some thoughts with you today. You're very kind with what you say. I really appreciate it. My wife doesn't think I'm that great.
I don't think it's true. I think she thinks you were fabulous.
Yeah.
She told me that, so I know. We've had the privilege of having him as a speaker at African Pet Health 2025. And I remember very clearly when I was sitting in your first lecture and I was sitting there and I thought, wow, is this true? And I had to pinch myself to know that we could sit in a lecture with him live and how you captivated the audience. And it was just absolutely the way you explain things and the way you challenge conventional thinking. It just, you connect all the dots and it's incredibly powerful for me. But yeah, what stands out more for me is your heart towards animals and the health and everything that is so special and important to me as a pet owner and as a raw food manufacturer. So it's not just our pets need to thrive; they need to thrive, not just survive. And I think that's because we share such common ground in terms of our viewpoint and actually everything. So before we kick off, I want to start with something and say just before we dive into other questions and what our viewers want to know, how did you perceive your part in African Pet Health in 2025, and what is your feelings about coming back in 2026?
Okay, so I have absolutely no idea what my impact was in South Africa. I hope it was big because you guys have a massive pioneering spirit, and I think when you get a good idea, an idea that rings true, you are able to run with it. Okay, because you established a homeland in a pretty rugged terrain. So I hope that I sowed some seeds. I met some great people. I've met some fantastic dogs, and I saw some wonderful countries. Met Angus MacDonald, who is one of the leading regenerative thinkers. I went to Stellenbosch, to the university, and I spoke with some of the leading people there in regenerative agriculture. So I think I probably got more out of it than you did, Retha. But I hope that you got something, and that your tribe also was able to find something that they were able to work with for a year. And if people gained anything from last year, wait till this year. It's going to be 10x what things were last year, because we know what to expect. We know how the welcome that we receive, and we're just going to jump straight in the deep end. I can't wait.
I can tell you.
For me, Nick,
cannot
I think
wait either.
I mean, I loved meeting all of you. Retha, it's just been an absolute amazing bringing everyone together at the summit. And I think for me, from my perspective as a pet parent, it just brought the conversation onto the main stage rather than being on the fringe.
Yeah.
And so I think 2026 is going to be super exciting.
It is, and we know some colleagues, Dr. Barry and is it Rachel? Who's the safari vet? What's her name? Sally. Yeah, Sally the Aussie. Be great to see her again. So we're going to be rekindling some of the connections that we made the first time, and it's all going to be slightly less strange. So we're going to be less like rabbits in the headlights, and we're really going to run with it from the moment our feet touch the ground. And you know what? I cannot wait to get there. And also the food is really great in South Africa. So I'm really happy to eat loads of meat and run on full steam for the entire time I'm with you. I really can't wait. Seriously, I can't wait. If anybody has questions, come and grab me. I'm really keen to talk about real health, real raw food from the time that I land to the time that I depart. I can't wait.
We're going to keep you very busy. That's for
Great.
sure.
Great.
So the nice thing about African Pet Health 2026 is we've actually, because of popular demand, we've created a vet section where we're going to have a day for vets and vet nurses, vet professionals, and have a little bit more of a technical forum there. And then on the Saturday and Sunday, it will be the pet parents and the vets. And I think what is important here is to bring the vet and the pet parents together and bridge that gap of my vet does not understand and my vet does not support so that for me is one of the exciting parts of things that's going to happen.
That kind of chimes with me, Retha, because my book that I'm just in the final stages of at the moment is exactly that. It's bringing together the experience of pet parents over the last 20, 30 years, together with the misunderstanding and the lack of education for our vets. I'm trying to get that into under 100,000 words, and so my brain is brimming with what conversations we need to have to help vets to understand that raw feeding is not something to be feared; it's something to be embraced, and to help non-vet passionate pet parents to be able to facilitate those to be able to talk with their professionals so that everybody can create a journey together so that you've just got healthier cats and dogs. That is the important thing. It doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what you think. Is the dog healthier? Yes or no? Don't believe anybody, believe your dog. That's the bottom line with all this stuff. Is the dog better? Is the dog healthier? Better coat, better teeth, better poos, better anal glands, better energy, better behavior. That is your metric. That's where you need to. That's where you need to.
It's a very important part. I think, Antonette, that actually brings me to one of the questions that one of our listeners, viewers, has asked about allergies and issues, and I think maybe it's a good time to ask that question, or maybe you can help us with that.
Yeah.
Is it
Antonette?
Donald's question?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Rita?
Yes,
Or
Donald's
Michelle?
question. Nee, Donald's.
Donald, yeah.
Yeah.
His dog has got chronic yeast infections and only in the
Where?
one ear.
Yeah.
In the one
Interesting.
ear, but only
Yeah.
in the one ear. And
Yeah.
the vet had subscribed cortisone spray, which works for a while and then it stops working. And the same symptoms return. So it's like a vicious circle, basically.
Okay.
So
Great.
why was it just in the one ear?
Yeah. Okay. Great question, Donald. Okay. So let's go through. There are many strands of thought. Okay. So the first thing to say is that it is likely to be a yeast, and that all dogs, like all humans, have some yeast on their skin. They have viruses, they have yeast, they have bacteria, they have archaea, they have fungi, you name it. It's all there, but it's all playing nicely because the biome is balanced. When you see an overgrowth of one species, and in this case, this is Malassezia pachydermatis, yeah, it's yeast. It makes your skin smell like Doritos, like old socks. It's because that one species has been given an opportunity to prevail. Just as if you don't tend your garden, one species, we call them weeds, but that's because we're weedist. Yeah, we would like some plant species, but not others. One species takes over. Okay, that's exactly the same thing. In the microbiological world, we call this dysbiosis. Yeah, you should have 4, 5, 20 different species all playing together, creating a mixed biome. That's a happy skin. If one takes over, that is dysbiosis. And given that I haven't seen the dog or the history or the medication history, I would suggest that it is very likely that we have a dysbiosis. And I would venture that at some point in fairly recent history, the dog has had more generalized problems. Maybe the armpits were itchy, maybe the backside was itchy, maybe the feet were itchy, maybe both ears were a little bit itchy, but for some reason the Malassezia, the yeast in one ear, really took off, and then maybe Donald has done some work to help to cure, to normalize the itch and the secondary infection in the rest of the body. But because this got such a stronghold, this is persisting beyond the resolution of the rest of the body. And therefore, I think that the treatment will be to work towards restoring the normal balance of microorganisms, microbiota on and in the ear if the original problem has been taken care of. That is to say, if you've got a dog who's got secondary infection and you don't treat the reason why the dog is itchy in the first place, you're just going to get recurrent infection, okay? Because the yeast just bounces off the house dust allergy. The yeast will just reestablish because of the pollen sensitivity. The yeast will reestablish because the dog has a chicken sensitivity. Yeah, it means that the skin is permanently a little bit too warm, a little bit too wet, and the yeast goes, yay, it's party time all over again. So there's two things that I think Donald needs to contemplate. One is the dog generally itchy, even at a low level? And so you need to look at environmental allergies, that's dust, house dust, mites, outside. This is if the dog has seasonal problems and there's maybe a pollen issue there, or maybe it's a food issue. Donald is in good faith feeding chicken or beef or lamb or kudu or whatever he's feeding, and he hasn't realized that that may be causing a low level sensitivity, which is allowing the yeast to flourish. So I think, Donald, what we need to do is we need to just have a look just at the environment and the diet, just make sure there's nothing is feeding the situation. But we also need to change the biosis. We need to change what's happening on the ear, depending whether it's in the ear or on the ear. And I would think that the simplest way to do that, and there are various ways of doing it, you have to find what works, would be maybe using some apple cider vinegar. If you use it neat, it can be a bit burny, so you may need to dilute it 50-50. Yeah, so it's like really strong orange squash, half apple cider vinegar, half water, and then you just apply it 2-3 times a day to the ear to bash down, to suppress the yeast down far enough so that the bacteria can come up and help balance, so the viruses can come up and help balance, so the archaea, which is kind of just really old-fashioned bacteria, can come up and rebalance. And then there's opportunity for the yeast to come back through, because all the niches on the skin are taken by the good guys, so there's no opportunity for the bad guys to come through and re-establish. From the tiny bit of information you've given me, Donald, I would suggest that that would be a very useful frame of thinking about how to approach the issue. And if it's not, if the dog is not better in September, let me have a look at the dog. Let's have a really good chat and see if we can resolve it. But there's usually a way through with these guys, one way or the other.
Great, thank you. That's actually a very good answer. And I also think is that the overuse of antibiotics can also make that it keep on reoccurring.
Yeah. Because antibiotics are very good at killing the bacteria. So if you've got yeast and bacteria and archaea and viruses and say normal oils on the skin, and those together play really nicely together, if you reduce the skin bacteria, it means these guys may not work so well together, and you can induce dysbiosis in human women. They see this problem. If you take an antibiotic, sometimes you can disrupt your normal flora, and you can get thrush where you can get a dysbiosis where you don't want dysbiosis. I'm not going to go any further. Every woman watching this goes, "Oh my God, yes!" Guys don't get it. Guys don't get this at all. Yeah, guys get they get athlete's foot. Yeah, which is slightly less intimate than thrush with girls. Yeah, and so let's follow this. The treatment for thrush is to use yogurt, live yogurt. Okay, you can use antifungals and what have you, but I think that the thing to do is to try and re-establish a good biome. And so what's very effective in many is to use live yogurt with those bacteria to put the bacteria back where they have been killed, murdered by the antibiotics. Okay, thrush is a very nice microcosm of the whole biosis, dysbiosis, and repopulation of good bacteria to allow the whole microbiome to manage itself very effectively.
Something that I found, instead of using yogurt with dogs that has got thrush, is using like goat's milk kefir.
Same thing. Same thing. It's basically
does an amazing job for that.
Totally agree. Anything you could probably use sauerkraut or many or kimchi. You could probably use muddy water. Yeah, it's got to be clean mud, if you know what I mean. But it's basically you're just trying to reseed the garden with the flowers that you want to outcompete the weeds that have grown through. That's quite a good way of thinking about it. Does that work? Yeah, Yulan? Yeah. So should we go further with that analogy, or
I think that's a very great analogy and a great explanation. Makes so much sense.
Okay.
There's another question. Leanne asked, so Leanne is one of the possum, her Penny, and is one of a staffy that's on possum rule. Yeah. And we've been on quite a journey with Penelope, with gut sensitivity, immense food and environmental allergies, with a homeopathic journey for quite some time. Yeah. She's been clear of Cytopoint now for over 2 years.
Wow. Great.
No, she was when it started, she was on Cytopoint and Apoquel, couldn't work, get it. So it's been 2 years that it's clear. And I think she's on some hormonal medication, that holistic hormonal medication, because she struggled very badly with her immune system. Okay? Yeah. She's on adrenal support drops and trying to get hormonal and adrenal support. Leanne's question is, she's due for a proper teeth clean, one where they need to put her under and get her teeth clean. I'm really scared this will push us back on how we've been trying to build up her immune system. What's the best way to support prep for the sedation and anesthesia for teeth clean?
Okay. Hi, Leanne. Hope you're watching. Look forward to seeing you in September. Okay, so if I had a dog who has established a new, much healthier equilibrium, and I wanted to kind of protect them against the potential insult, so you've got a stress insult, you've got a chemical insult from the anesthetics, okay, they're necessary because you can't do really brutal dental work without an anesthetic, and maybe there's antibiotics afterwards. So for me, if the dog is on a raw food diet, that is the foundation. That's a great place to start. I would make sure that you've got a really good probiotic going in for at least a week before the sedation. And I would continue that through until dog is stable and healthy the other side. That's 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. Okay. So basically we're using the probiotic, and I put prebiotics in there as well, as a chaperone, as a band-aid to take you through that sedation period. In addition, I would be using herbs like milk thistle, dandelion, schizandra, beplurum, in order to protect liver and kidney, and to a certain extent pancreatic health. Basically, you're trying to wrap all the organs in a little bit of cotton wool as they transit. Yeah, you know how you put glassware into jiffy bags and you wrap it really carefully when you put it in the post if it's going to Europe or something like that. Basically, that's what we're kind of trying to do. We're trying to put the organs in a jiffy bag, which is herb shaped, which is milk thistle shaped, which is dandelion shaped, to take them through the transit situation, so that when they arrive at the destination, which is health, the other side of the sedation, they're in good shape and they can continue. I think, is the way to do it. From a homeopathic perspective, phosphorus is a very useful remedy for problems after surgery. But before we even get to surgery, we would be using remedies like hypericum, and we would be using arnica given before the surgery, because they will prepare for nerve damage and nerve pain, and will prepare for bruising that we will see as a result of the dental work that needs to take place.
That's great, great, great advice. Thanks, Nick. And that for me sort of brings me to another side of the Vet Health Summit, about one of our other speakers, touching on herbs. And I'm very excited about Rita Hogan coming out. So your thoughts on herbs and the importance on that. I mean, we know we've been in many things where Rita was a speaker, and she's amazing. So I'm sure you're quite keen to share the stage with Rita as well.
Oh, totally. I love Rita is great. We've got Rita and Retha. Okay, that's not confusing at all. Okay, so just as you were asking the question, my mind went to pharmaceuticals are arguably 100 years old. Homeopathy is arguably about 200 years old. Herbs are arguably of what, 2 billion years old. 1 billion, what's a billion between friends? But they are the original medicine. Okay, what's the difference between food and medicine? The answer is usually dose. Okay, they've been around for a very long time, and dogs and humans have been borrowing the compounds that plants were happily making before we even arrived on the planet, and we are stealing those for our own benefit, either for nutritional benefit or for medicinal benefit. And we have been for a very long time, way before all of this clever stuff that humans invented called homeopathy or pharmaceuticals. So herbs are arguably the oldest medicine in the world because it predates us. And therefore, I think it is incumbent on all vets and vet students and pet parents to become at least a little familiar with the possibilities of using simple herbs at the very least in order to maintain a healthy equilibrium. And there is nobody better than Rita Hogan to lead you on that exciting journey. And I'm not reading from script. This sounds a bit scripted, but actually that's
you.
I have just made that up on the spot, but I think it rings true for me. Rita, she is super clever, super generous with her information. She's written a book, so you'll get a taster when you hear what she says. You can go home with the book, buy the book. It's brilliant. Herbs are really, really, really important, and at one level they're really simple. Yeah, you can do primary school herbs and you're good to go. It's a really, really great way to get into health. They're very safe with the simple early herbs that you can use. So there's no need to be scared.
Intimidated.
No need to be intimidated. That's exactly right. So yeah. So be excited. Be very excited about Rita coming to talk about herbs. She's very good, and she didn't pay me to say that.
She doesn't pay anybody to say anything because she is just an amazing human being.
She's brilliant. I can't wait to see her in September.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I've got another question.
Yeah.
Our little Mr. Miyagi,
Yeah.
as sorry, I just need to read this now clearly. Since starting
Yeah.
our raw diet, we have had a 100% success rate with no allergy issues such as red paws, drool stains, or blocked sinuses, which Mr. Miyagi used to struggle with. Sorry, guys. It always seemed seasonal, and we also suspect that gluten may have played a big role. This season, however, he has started showing symptoms again. He has the sniffles, but nothing chesty or with blocked sinuses. The phlegm is clear, but he definitely has a runny nose, very teary eyes, and sneezes 4 to 5 times on numerous occasions throughout the day. What would your suggestions be to help assist him? At the moment, he's taking a quarter Allergex and being nebulized once daily with vet med.
Okay. So, Mr. Miyagi, is he one of yours, Rita?
Yes, he's on a very he's on mostly rabbit meat. He weighs 2.6 kilograms. He's a little sweetie pie. He's a tiny little lister.
And what's his breeding? I've seen him, but I don't know what he's actually
Mr. Miyagi is a Chihuahua.
Okay, he's a Chewy. Okay, cool. So does the increase in the respiratory signs correspond with increase in pollen in your part of the world?
We've had a very, very funny season. So it is, I definitely think it is definitely seasonally related because it's getting more moisture, the damp is coming down, and it's this humidity that you get in the Cape Town weather during this time of the year.
Okay, so we're going into spring, therefore you're going into autumn. Okay. So this is a really interesting point that Mr. Miyagi has raised. Okay, I'm going to just, and I only discovered this maybe 5-6 years ago because a client mentioned it. Okay, I learned most of my stuff from clients. So he seems to be demonstrating symptoms of, in a human, would be hay fever. Is that correct, Rita? Yeah?
Yes.
So he's got runny eyes and he's got itchy face maybe. So it's hay fever, yeah? So he's got hay fever. Hay fever is what humans get when they're exposed to pollen, okay? That's why it's called hay fever, okay? Not snow fever, yeah? You with me? Okay, so, and I thought that was that. However, a client came in to me with a Jack Russell and she said, well, he gets worse in the autumn, which in this part of the world is from about September to November. And I said, well, that's crazy because pollen is reducing, and if he just has some kind of pollen sensitivity, the degree of symptoms, the degree of hay fever that he has should reduce proportionate to the environmental pollen count. Yeah, logically. Yeah, if the stimulation from the environment is reducing, your symptoms should reduce. That's logical. What my client, lovely American lady, she said, yeah, but what about leaf mold? Okay, because she said in the autumn, she's fine all summer, but in the autumn, she gets terrible hay fever, and it only corresponds to when she clears the leaves from the garden. Okay, because the leaves fall off the trees, they land on the ground, and they are eaten quite appropriately. They are composted by the bacteria and the bacteria and the archaea and the protozoa and all these things which are in the leaves, and the molds which are there. These are the fungal elements which help to break down everything, but they break down the leaves. And some individuals, some dogs, some humans are actually allergic to the the spores that these organisms produce. So essentially, you are sensitive to leaf mold. And so I would throw that into the equation. And so you're going to say, what are we going to do? So there's a few things I would do. You can use herbs to help as an antihistamine effect. Bromelain and quercetin are very useful, as sometimes you can replace an antihistamine. You say that he's on an antihistamine to help him. Okay, antihistamine tablet by mouth. The other thing you mentioned is a nebulizer. That's a steroid that you take into your entire respiratory system in order to try and damp down the symptoms of hay fever, which can also be leaf mold sensitivity. Okay, so from a herbal perspective, bromelain, which is from pineapple, quercetin, which is from berries, they have a mild antihistamine effect, and you can give him a dose appropriate to his size. That's one thing. The next thing is there are some very good herbs that one can use in order to reduce the histamine. These would be kind of liquid herbs like these over here. Okay, and it'd be just worth talking to local herbal vet in order to find out what you can get to have that anti-inflammatory, antihistamine effect. So check those out. Maybe have a chat with Dr. Barry, or he may know somebody who's local, because the herbs that you can get hold of may be different from the herbs that I can get hold of. Definitely worth looking at, broadening that idea. From if his diet can cause a problem, it's worth making sure that you're not giving any proteins that might be also causing an inflammatory response. And the final thing is
cooling proteins.
Which?
Cooling proteins.
Cooling proteins. Well, yeah, but if he's got a chicken sensitivity and you give him chicken, he is going to get inflammatory response. So I don't give him anything that provokes inflammatory response. Simple as that. So the last thing is homeopathics. There are two approaches here that are potentially very useful. I have in my remedies over there, because I made it up when I found this out. I went out into the woods and I got some leaf molds in the autumn, and I got my homeopathic pharmacy. Big shout out to my pharmacy in Glasgow. They are called Freeman's Homeopathic Pharmacy, and I sent them some leaf mold, and they made up this remedy. So I can organize that for you. I can send it, but it'll take forever to get to you, Retha. So if you can get hold of maybe some leaf mold in potency, if you think that might be the problem, that might be worth dosing 2 to 4 times a day. Yeah, basically you find the allergen in the environment, what that might be causing the problem, and you give that as a potency to try and dampen the response. Okay, and the other approach is a more classical homeopathic approach, and that would be to treat him constitutionally. So if he's a calc carb constitution, you give him calc carb. If he's a phosphorus constitution, you give him phosphorus. If he's pulsatilla, you would give him a pulsatilla. Yeah, regardless of the symptoms, whether he's got pneumonia or arthritis or dermatitis, then coming in with the constitutional remedy to help to energize his vital force, that would be a very valuable thing to do. So from the homeopathic perspective, constitutional remedy and or an appropriate remedy based on those elements of the environment that you think he may be sensitive to. That's how I would begin to approach this.
Great. Thank you very much for that. Then another question. We're being bombarded with questions here tonight. Yeah. We've got a lady, Erin. She stays in the UK at the moment, and they are moving back to South Africa.
Cool.
Okay, and she's got a beautiful ridgeback, 4-year-old ridgeback that has got a lot of sensitivities and issues. Okay. However, her biggest problem is they're moving back to South Africa and they're going to stay in KZN for a little while. And one of it's a high risk rate. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and it's a high-risk area for rabies, so that is a requirement. This poor baby now needs to get a rabies vaccination.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about? What are his thoughts on giving them both the rabies vaccine? That's for her cat and the Ridgeback. Okay, and then what can she help to support him homeopathically? She can't find a dog beast vaccination detox product in the UK.
Yeah.
So that's the first question, and then we can go on to a second question. Is I've managed to find a cattery that doesn't require vaccines, but they insist on arriving with a tick and flea product. What is the mildest and safest pharmaceutical treatment I can send with her? I'm dreading this all.
Okay. You need to ask a question. I'm a guy, Retha. Therefore, I can only deal with one thing at a time.
One question. Okay, so the first question is, how can she support them with the rabies vaccine that they've got? There's no choice. She's got to do this. What will be the rabies?
So if you have no choice but to do when people ask me this in the UK, it's like, I want to go to France with my dog. I've got to do rabies. I say, don't go to France. Go to Cornwall. Go to the Isle of Man. Go to Scotland. Go to Wales. Don't go to France, because then you don't need to do the rabies. I would not give my dog rabies vaccine unless I absolutely had to. I had to flee the country or something like that. But many dogs will tolerate the rabies vaccine fine. Yeah, good for them. They're not the ones that I see. I see the ones who don't tolerate the rabies vaccine and have problems with the rabies vaccine. The person to read for an analysis of vaccinosis, that is disease arising from vaccination, is a guy called Don, as in Donald, like the person we had at the beginning of the show. Don Hamilton has written a wonderful book called Homeopathic Care for Cats and Dogs. Okay, grab it. It's pretty cheap because it's been out for maybe 10, 15 years now. You can get it on Amazon for tuppence halfpenny. So grab the book, and that will give you some background into vaccinosis. If, however, I'm digressing because it's a great book. So if you have to give the vaccine, I would suggest you find a pharmacy who can produce the rabies vaccine in potency. Or if she's in the UK and she lets me know, then we can have a conversation about this. You get the rabies vaccine in potency, and you dose that before, during, and after the insult from the vaccine. Okay, number one. Number two is that I would be doing the milk thistle, dandelion, Schisandra, Buplurum, etc. as you know, like the bubble wrap for the organs in the face of insult. So in a funny way, it's kind of a similar question to Leanne's question about the anesthetic. Okay, these are all insults to the body, and they're all pro-inflammatory or potentially toxic insults, which will provoke inflammation, and therefore the protocol will be quite similar in that case. Okay. Also with Leanne, you can actually get potency of whatever the anesthetics they're using, and you can give those, just as a subsequent additional thought for Leanne. If you know the toxin going into the animal, you can do some detox before the and during and after the event as well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so, and the second question is, the cattery requires a tick and flea treatment.
Okay.
What is the safest, the mildest and safest pharmaceutical treatment I can send with my cat.
Yeah, really good. Okay, so all of these products are pesticides. Yeah, whether it's Advantage or Advocate that goes on the neck, or Frontline, or whatever that goes on the skin, or whether it's a tablet like Simparica or NexGard or Bravecto, they're all pesticides. Okay, and to be minimized and avoided where possible. Okay, I'm not saying never ever use them. I would try and avoid Bravecto. That for me is one of the worst because it's very high concentration. And so I would suggest that she has a chat with her vet about NexGard. The thing is also, if you put it onto the dog and the dog goes swimming, that dog has immediately contaminated that waterway. Yeah. And if you wash that dog at home, the water goes down the drain, out into the sewer, and then goes into the waterway. So you're contaminating the waterway. The biggest areas of contamination with these types of products is downstream, down the river from urban populations, from towns. And that's where they're seeing this contamination. So personally, I try to avoid topicals. Yeah. Drop on or spray on flea and tick products. I will use reluctantly an oral medication like NexGard, for example, NexGard. That you can also get NexGard Advanced or NexGard Extra. Don't know what. I don't like the stuff, so I don't look into it. But if I'm in a situation where I have to prescribe something, or somebody comes to me and says, I've tried everything, all the holistic, and the dog still has fleas, or we're going to really, really ticky areas, and last year they got really, really loads of ticks, I would use NexGard. I've used it on mine. Okay, so it's for me it's the best, the least worst of those pesticides possibly.
So Erin has just commented that the cat reacts to NexGard combo. She goes wild and salivates for hours after.
Okay, that's NexGard combo. Yeah, I can't really speak to cat medicines because I don't do cats these days. I have used NexGard oral preparation on my cats, but it's not licensed. Okay. There is the early trial work. I was working off the data from the early trial work to get the right dose, and the cats are still alive and still doing very well. Okay, but I'm not saying to use it with cats. You'd have to talk to a cat vet. I think I'm going to dodge that question, I'm afraid.
Okay, so I think that brings us to another thing. Is our amazing cat vet that's joining us at the African Pet Health Summit.
Oh yeah, Amaya. Yeah, ask her.
Amaya.
Yeah,
and
great
maybe
idea.
she can give you an answer. So I will, Erin, I will send you contact details, and you can chat to Amaya and ask her for some advice on what to give the cat. So that's actually quite exciting to have a cat vet joining us, because I think our cats very often get neglected.
They get sidelined, and I think that it's exactly right. Now I've got 3 cats. Yeah, I'm not catist at all. I love cats, wonderful. My favorite cat, I hope my cats are not listening, but my favorite cat is a Burmese, and I'd love to one day, maybe when I'm old and dotty, I'll get a Burmese, and I'm going to call my Burmese Ban Ki-moon. You remember those? He was the he. Even if it's a she, I'm going to call him Ban Ki-moon because I think it's the most amazing name. And he was the chief commissioner of the WHO or the UN or somebody like that. And I just thought, what an amazing name for a Burmese. So there you go. And if anybody steals it, that's fine. You're welcome to steal that name. I love cats. But I just my practice was so busy 5-6 years ago that I had to draw the line, and I just thought, okay, well, it's easier, and I'm a bloke, so I can only concentrate on one thing at once. So I thought, okay, rather than concentrating on cats and dogs, I'm just going to concentrate on dogs. and now I get some really busy again. So I'm having to narrow down my focus again. So, yeah, there you go. Kat's great, and Maya will be able to give you the fine detail on products there, I'm sure.
That is so. So we've got Nick, and we've got Rita, and we've got Amaya, and then we have got Dr. Judy Morgan.
Amazing. I don't know how you landed her. That's amazing, because she's a big, big fish. I'm going to have to go in 5, Rita, but I'm happy to come again. But Judy Morgan, what can I say about Judy Morgan? She is just a powerhouse, and she's really funny, and she's really super knowledgeable, and she calls a spade, and so she's going to get on really well in South Africa, and yeah, and she's really experienced. Yeah, she's been probably doing it maybe similar time to me, maybe a year or 2 longer. So she's been around the block a number of times, and she's going to bring a wealth. She's got a very big personality, and I really look forward to seeing how she gets it, because I've only ever seen her working in the States. She's an American vet. So it's going to be interesting to see how she gets on in the South African environment, in the South African social environment. I'm sure she'll be absolutely great, but it's going to be interesting to see how she moves in a non-American scenario. Again, I'm sure she'll be absolutely great. And yeah, there you go. And I imagine she'll probably see this sooner or later. She is absolutely all over social media. I don't know how she has time to put out so much quality stuff, and therefore she must be watching quite a lot of it. So she may see this. So hi, Judy. Look forward to seeing you in September, my friend, and we can catch up. It was great to see her, because we Connor and Brenton and I were invited to her fabulous summit in April of last year. So kind of this time last year. I can't believe the time has gone so quickly. Yeah. We came to you guys, and then I think a few weeks even later, it's all blur. I've been running from interview to interview today, but yeah, we saw Judy this time last year, and we had a just great. Her hospitality was second to none, and was on a par with the Afrikaans welcome that we got. I really look forward to seeing her again. So Judy, look forward to seeing you, and I think that, like, I'm just going to say again, and I'm not just being nice to Retha and Antonette. It was really fun last time. It was the first one, so everybody was feeling their way forward. But even though it was, we were all guinea pigs for each other, it went down really, really well. It was a really special meeting, and now we kind of know what we're doing. I'm talking about me. Retha, she's a consummate.
We're learning as we go,
obviously, but we've done it once, so I think that because we've got that experience, we can bring that to bear, and I think it's going to be a fantastic. Can you just remind us, in case anybody doesn't know the dates? I know the dates.
For those that hasn't booked yet, we have got 19 and 20 September, and it is in Stellenbosch, on the Western Cape. It's being held at the Protea Hotel Stellenbosch Techno Park. So if you have not booked your ticket yet, send us a message, make your booking. You cannot miss out. Nick, why should people come?
Okay, because in Stellenbosch, the coffee is going to be to die for, and I'm going to be out in little coffee shops in between lectures and what have you, a lot, thinking, writing, chatting, and so I would go just for Stellenbosch. Yeah, it's a university town. It's really beautiful. It kind of reminds me of Princeton and Oxford and Harrogate, and I would go just for Stellenbosch. So, but this way you get Stellenbosch, you get Judy Morgan, you get Rita Hogan, and you
Peter
get
Tobias.
you guys, Peter Tobias, and you get a whole host. You get about 3 years worth of celebrities all in one space in a beautiful place, and they're going to be talking about food, they're going to be talking about health, they're going to be talking about inflammation and how to conquer it, they're going to be talking about pharmaceuticals. It's going to be just it's going to be a roller coaster, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We always have fun at the end of the day, even though everybody works really hard. If you want to, you play really hard as well. I haven't got the energy to do that these days. I'm going to be in bed really early most nights, and we're going to be going hard during the days and having a fabulous time. I always say to my clients, if raw feeding is not fun, you're doing it wrong. Okay. And for this conference, you know, if this conference feels like a chore, then we are doing it wrong. And I'm sure it won't feel like a chore. We're going to be working really, really hard, but it's going to be a joy. And I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for your time. Antonette, anything more from you?
I think if people want to binge on Nick's content until September, go and check out his Substack. It's absolutely fabulous. I love it.
It's the highlight of my day.
Ah, bless you. That's really, really kind. I did have to pay them to say that, guys. But Substack is
no, first round is on him.
I'm totally broke now because I've been paying these guys to say nice things about my Substack. So Substack is basically, it's Facebook, but for people who want to learn, really, really learn. So you can make posts about observations with your dog and whatever you can share with the community. So it's just like Facebook, but it's also people post essays and articles. Okay, so it's a learning platform. The average age is something like 40 years old. So you're among people who are thinking. They've done with TikTok, they've done with Facebook, they've done with Instagram. It's like guys, let's get serious. Let's learn something. Let's have fun and learn together. That's Facebook. I didn't really know a lot about it, but just recently, because I'm writing my book, everything that needs to go in the book, it's, you know, ultra processed food and raw food and lightly cooked food, that's going in the book. But I've got all this stuff, as you've seen now, all this stuff coming out of my pores, and that goes into Substack. So I'm ranting about peacocks. I'm talking about pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about just anything
plastic
that comes
and dog
mind.
Food, all sorts of great things.
Oh, you name it. And when I take the dogs, when I take the dogs for a walk, I take them up on the hill over here. If I have an idea, I just grab my phone and I was to go, hey guys, and my hair is all over the place and I'm freezing to death. I don't care, because I'm just being really honest. And you know, and my dog is lame. It's great fun. So check it out. Substack. I'm Holistic Vet, as you can see just here.
Yes.
Holistic Vet UK, or just look up Nick Thompson Vet and you'll find me. It's so much fun. I can't describe. I never thought I'd be a fan of social media, and I'm not. But this is.
You're very good at this one.
Oh, bless you, bless you. It's because I like it. I would not do this even if they paid me. Even if they paid me, I would not do it. I won't do any social media just for the money. This I love. I tell you, I love it. Thank you, Antonette. You're very kind. Brilliant.
I'll definitely link it in the recording.
Yeah,
so
do.
So I'll just link it there.
I didn't get. I went onto Substack because it was uncensored. During COVID, it was uncensored. I wanted real information, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it acted on my phone. Okay, so I went, don't like it. But then I went onto the what do you call it? On your computer, on your laptop, and it's divine. It works beautifully, and everything's logical, and you just think, oh, I think it'll be that button, and lo and behold, it is that button. It's super logical for for
Easy.
IT idiots like me, it's pretty
Yes, wow.
intuitive. It's intuitive. Yeah, you just think,
very,
"Oh,
very, very. It's
that'll
easy.
work," and it does. So it's for IT idiots who want to learn, who love dogs, who love food, who love health. Do
Absolutely.
it. Okay.
I get
Yeah.
mine to my inbox, so I don't even have to go
Cool.
into that.
Okay, well, there you go. You can do it
You
at
see?
arm's length, like Antonette.
You
You just
see?
do it from the email. You just press a button. Look, all my drivel can come all over your laptop. There you go. Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry.
That's a visual.
Nick, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful spring. I hope you guys are warming up while we're getting wet and cold. Looking forward to see you.
Listen, we've had a long cold winter, so you can have it for a bit now. I'm not sympathetic. Yeah.
Our winters is almost like your summers, so it's okay.
I know. Man up, you guys, Afrikaans. Come on, man up. Or woman up.
Listen, see you in September. Thank you for your time, and we really enjoyed having some time with you.
It's been great.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you.
Antonette, who's on next week?
Oh, Leanne.
Yes. Next week we've got an amazing about canine yoga and the importance of what that can do for your dog. Is doing some doggy yoga. So that's going to be a very interesting session as well.
Very
See you next week, guys.
Great.
Have a nice week.
Great stuff.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.